Welcome back. I'm Jack Bradley. President Trump is the first president to meet the Syrian leader in the Oval Office. A coalition of Christian leaders today urging him to address the persecution of religious minorities in Syria. To discuss, we welcome on Matthew Faraci, Religious Freedom Advisor for the National Association of Christian Lawmakers. Matthew Faraci, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Jack, I am honored to finally be on your show. Well, this is a life achievement.
Well, thank you for coming on. First off, President Trump and the Syrian president are meeting today in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
Talk to us a bit about the significance of that and what it keys in for the future of U.S. relations with Middle Eastern countries.
Well, President Trump has been and is the world's lone champion on religious freedom. And it's an amazing thing. If you saw recently, I'm sure you reported on, Jack, the Nigeria situation, where the president came out and said, look, no, you don't get to kill Christians. And in fact, Nigeria, if you don't fix this problem, we're going to step in and we're going to help you via the U.S. military. I thought that was an absolutely profound sort of new Monroe doctrine, if you will, from the president saying America first means America is a Christian country and you don't get to kill Christians and other religious minorities in the world. So that was a very powerful pronouncement he made in the last week or two. And so that is the backdrop for the Syrian president's visit to the United States, because he's a new president of Syria, but he's already got, President Trump, as you remember a couple months ago, met with the Syrian president as introduced by MBS in Saudi Arabia. And the president said, look, we'll give you the car keys, kid. You've got a sketchy past. You've been in and out of juvie. You've been kicked out of school a couple times. I mean, General Petraeus seriously was actually joking when he had al-Sharaa on stage. He said, you know what? I think I detained you once, back during his terrorist days, which were not that long ago. And so President Trump said, okay, kid, we'll give you the car keys, but I need to see good behavior. I need to see you driving responsibly. And he hasn't been driving responsibly, and that's kind of the backdrop of this visit.
And you sent a letter to President Trump along with 100 other people calling on Trump to urge him to address the human rights abuses in Syria, the massacre against Christian and other religious believers. Talk to us a bit about the extent of that.
Yeah, so that letter was circulated by Didi Logson, amazing lady who runs a group called SaveThePersecutedChristians.org. Everybody should check out her group. They do incredible work. And the backdrop of this is that in July, al-Sharaa's forces went down to Sweda. It's in the southernmost part of Syria, near the Golan Heights, near the northern Israel border. And they started slaughtering people October 7th style. Unspeakable atrocities, raping little girls, throwing grandparents and their grandbabies off of rooftops, burning old people alive. I mean, absolutely unspeakable kind of horrors. Then they realized, okay, this is probably not going to be good PR for the new regime, so we should probably shut this down. But ever since then, what's happened is that Sweda, which is a city of between 700 and 750,000 people, has been surrounded almost in a Chinese Communist Party style siege. And humanitarian supplies have been few and far between getting in. We're talking basics like food, water, medical supplies. In fact, one report I read said that the average person in Sweda's daily water allotment is below the United Nations level for starvation. So it's a real crisis, and they're heading into winter. So it's going from bad to worse. The residents of Sweda are two sort of main groups. One is a group of people called the Druze. The Druze protect the Christians. That's one of the things that they pride themselves on doing. And the situation in Sweda is really, really bad. And that's the backdrop of the letter. And you have huge, these are the most respected voices in the Christian community in America. People like Pastor Jack Hibbs, Pastor Jack Graham, Sammy Rodriguez, Rob McCoy, Charlie Kirk's pastor, Frank Turek, Alveda King, Martin Luther King's niece, so many people standing up and saying to President Trump, thank you, first of all, for your leadership on religious freedom in Nigeria and other places. And President Trump, because you have so much leverage over Syria, which wants to be a pro-Western, American-oriented country, tell the kid he's been, driving too fast. He's gotten pulled over a couple times. He's even run some people off the road. And you're going to take the car keys away if he doesn't behave.
Under the previous Assad regime in Syria, we had Syria as like a transit point for Iran to send weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. And they also had the Russians operating a naval base in the Mediterranean close to Syria. With this new leadership in Syria, is President Trump looking to rebalance the power in the Middle East?
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely looking to create a pro-American Middle East. We know that it's been widely discussed and something that your station focuses on, that a lot of these countries don't like the CCP. They don't like the way that they're being treated by the CCP, and they would prefer to be aligned with America, which is fantastic. And so this is the paradigm shift that we see the president is seeking, and it's an absolutely great cause. He wants to expand the Abraham Accords. We know that Europe is dying, and so the president has a bold vision for a prosperous new Middle East and also Africa that could be kind of the center of world commerce, a new center of world commerce that America can do business with. But it's a complicated business to do. It's not going to happen in 5 minutes. You know, they say Rome wasn't built in a day. And you've also got some power players, like you alluded to, who've got different interests. Turkey wants to run the Middle East. Saudi Arabia wants to run the Middle East. Qatar wants to run the, everybody's got their, if the Middle East is going to be powerful, it's going to be us. And so the president has to balance these delicate interests. And also, to your point, all these guys are playing in Syria. Turkey's playing very much in Syria. The Saudis are playing in Syria. And there's definitely a lot of people competing for what Syria is going to look like down the road.
All right, Matthew Faraci, thank you so much for your insights today. Really appreciate it.
Jack, honored to have you. And if I could just say for your viewers, SaveThePersecutedChristians.org, an absolutely amazing organization, what they're doing to stick up for religious freedom. Religious freedom is the most sacred right. If we don't have religious freedom, we don't have anything. So I just encourage everybody to go check them out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jack.